হ্যালো গাইস, আজকে আমরা চলে এসেছি ফেরত গানুসিন ইম্প্যাক্টে ফন্টেইনের চ্যাপ্টার 4 আর্কন কোয়েস্ট অ্যাক্ট 1 কমপ্লিট করতে, কারণ একটাই সাবসেট বাকি ছিল গাইস। সেটার মধ্যে কোয়েস্ট লাইন যখন একটাই বাকি, তাহলে আমরা করব আজকেই ওটাকে শেষ। তো গাইজ আমরা ঢুকে পড়েছি ওয়ার্ল্ডে ফেরত। আমাদের 68টা অরিজিনাল রেজিন আছে, যেটা আমাদেরকে ব্যাক করাতে হবে। তো লুক ফর ক্লুজ ইন দি অপেরা হাউস, এইটা হচ্ছে আমাদের মেন মানে টাইম টেকিং ব্যাপার হবে এখানে। ফার্স্ট হচ্ছে কুইন্টিন। সব তো বকর বকর করবে গাইজ।
The investigation team has some new findings.
See, I told.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're helping Lenny and Lynette.
What is the new finding? আমাকে বলো। I am the lawyer here.
There's some.
You're trying to help them?
গেনশিনে আমি আজকে
That'll be
লয়ার।
a tall order.
Lenny used the machine to pick a random member of the audience during his performance, right? The lucky girl. Well, we thought there might be a serious problem with the machine, so we had it taken away for further inspection.
It turns out that the seat number it picked wasn't random at all. The machine picks that same number every time. I'm sure you already know that you have to make a reservation in advance to get a
আজকে
seat,
বেরিয়েছিলাম,
regardless of
আজকে
whether it's a trial or some performance.
তো
In
গাইজ
other
যেটা
words,
বোঝা গেল,
Lenny knew who would be
যে
sitting
সিট
where from
নাম্বার
the very
পিকারের
beginning.
যে ডিভাইস ওরা ইউজ করছে,
That much
সেইটার
turns
সঙ্গে
out.
কিছু
Lenny reserved
ট্যাম্পারিং
our seats
হয়েছে।
for us too.
Bet you see why I was saying it'd be tough to make a case for Lenny.
Even
র্যান্ডম নাম্বার সিলেক্টরের ক্লুটাও গাইজ আমরা লিখে নিলাম। এইবারে আর কোথায় যাব? ই মারবো, ই। এর সাথে কথা বলা হয়ে গেছে। এক্সামিন দ্য হোয়াইট লাইন, আর আরেকবার ই মারি, এক্সামিন দ্য ড্যামেজ বক্স। তারপরে এখানে
so
গাইজ
this is the rope
আমাদের
that broke and caused the water tank
ওয়াটার
to fall.
ট্যাঙ্কের গিরি, ওয়াটার
The rope
ট্যাঙ্কের
looks pretty durable.
দড়িটাকে পুড়িয়ে দিয়েছিল।
How could it be
So,
burned
উপর
through
থেকে
so
আমাদের
quickly
উপর
by
অ্যাটাক হওয়ার
fireworks?
চান্সেস বেশি ছিল এখানে।
Why are you suddenly so serious, traveler?
তাহলে রোপ যেখানে স্ন্যাপ করেছে গাইস, সেটা কিন্তু পোড়ানো হয়েছে।
Look, this bit is made from different material. Most of it was burned away, but there's still a little bit of it left. Huh. So if a wait, why don't you write all this down?
তাহলে স্পেশাল রোপ যেটা পুড়তে পারে, সেই রকম রোপ নেওয়া হয়েছে। আর কি ক্লু আছে? মরিস,
Hello there.
মরিসকে
What are
বলবো
you investigating?
মরিচ
The seats were all
বলে
booked in
তীর মেরে
advance.
দেবো সোজা
So we
বুকে।
were sure. Her name is Halsey. She's a painter from Fontaine who's made a bit of a name. Apparently, she wasn't a regular. The Magic Troupe members
কি
all
বলছিস
claim not to
সুমন বল?
know her. We have looked into her social connections. It seems that she has no personal grievances or conflicts. Simply put, she wasn't related to the Magic Troupe at all.
দাদা তীর
Which
মারতে
matches the
হলে
features of the previous series of
মাথায় নয়,
disappearances.
সোজা বুকে মারতে হয়।
Were the
That's how it seems to us.
okay then?
No need to be so formal. It is of utmost importance that we get to the bottom.
ওকে গাইস, মিসিং লেডিজ আইডেন্টিটি পাওয়া গেছে। সে হচ্ছে ফেমাস পেইন্টার। তো সবাই মোটামুটি ফেমাসই ছিল এই সিরিয়াল ডিসঅ্যাপিয়ারেন্সেস এর কেসে। সবার আগে ইসাইল ডটকে আমরা ধরবো।
I see that you're if you find any new and
We don't have too many The thud?
Yes, exactly. It's just that everyone was awaiting the results of Linny's trick with bated breath, so no one paid it much mind. But now that the incident has happened, the thud has become an important clue.
That makes...
I'm of the opinion that it may have been the sound of Linny's accomplice. Lynette, perhaps. Jumping atop the water tank, or something like that. And when the pyrotechnics went off, she cut the rope, sending the water tank crashing down.
But wasn't the noise we heard too loud for that?
Perhaps the balance wasn't right, leading to a particularly rough landing. Oh, that's true.
That does remind...
Strange sound during the magic show যে থার্ডটা হয়েছিল আর আমরা যেটাকে বলেছিলাম কেউ আগে ঠুকে দিল হয়তো তো গাইস এখানে তো সত্যিকারেরই ঠুকে গেছে examine the magic box কিছু পাওয়া গেল এর মধ্যে বলে তো মনে হচ্ছে না গাইস এখানে আর কিছু আছে একদম পিছনে এটা বাইরে বেরোনো দাদাজি বাইরে বেরোনোর জায়গায়
Hey, you! Yes, both of you! Over here! I've been keeping an eye on you for a while now.
Huh?
এটা কে
You
গাইস
mean us?
That's
আশেপাশে বাউন্সার দাঁড়িয়ে
If
আছে
I'm not
মানে কি
mistaken,
মাফিয়া
You're also among those who wish to cut down the thorns and pursue the truth.
Well, you're right on the more about that one, but who are you?
আরে পাইমন তুমি একে চিনতে পারছো না এ হচ্ছে নাভিয়া
Have you never heard
Spina
of
di
the
Rosula.
Rosula? From mediating disputes and providing protection to solving conundrums, you name it, Spina di Rosula does it. And I, Navia, have the honor of being its renowned president. Though those who play by our rules call me boss.
I'm Silver, her attendant. Pleased to meet you.
And I'm Melus. Demoiselle's various daily needs and affairs are under my purview.
Huh? Boss? Demoiselle?
ডেমোজেল মানে দ্য ম্যাডাম
Well, I am
এটা
the
যদি
second
তুমি বুড়াও না
generation
জানতে
president.
পারো তাহলে
Melus and the others are still used to my previous title.
Okay.
My apologies, Demoiselle. Should you prefer, boss, I will endeavor to use that instead.
No need. You don't have to call me boss. Just Navia is fine.
Okay, if you say so. Not that we're members of Spina di Rosula anyway.
All merely trifling details. That's right.
So guys,
I've always kept an
minimum
eye on the serial
trifling
disappearance
details
cases.
aside আমরা
My
কিন্তু
interest stems from a matter back from my father's time. Judging from the look of things, I find Linny an unlikely mastermind.
Really? We think so too, but how did...
Intuition, naturally. Farina sure was quick to point the finger at Linny without any decisive evidence whatsoever. But that's not uncommon for her. Anyway,
Sounds more like...
Well, what's your opinion? All right.
হাইড্রোআরকনকে গাইস ট্রাস্ট তো করা যাবে না
Now,
তোমরা
it's
দেখেই
time you
নিয়েছো
answer mine.
Wait a minute.
হাইড্রোআরকন একদমই দম্ভে ভরা একজন সেলফ সেন্টার্ড পারসন সো
Well,
বুঝতেই
I say it
পারছো
does.
সিগমা
But don't worry. You won't hear. In your opinion, do you think it's right to treat a trial like it's an
Well...
And why would that be? See, Silver.
Most astute of you, Demoiselle. I too think that the traveler's response was no matter how wonderful the script or how fervent the audience's expectations may be. The trials lick up, and if that can be done, boss.
All right, that's quite enough, Maloose. Now, I need to make some
Wait! Since when did we become assistants?
Oh, well, I can be the assistant, sure. Or your companion, if you like. I'm really not that
That's more like it.
You're missing the point,
Far be it for me
Paimon.
to brag, but I believe that you wish to save a friend from false accusations, and we wish to unravel the
You have a point. And what about you over there? What do you think? You seem like you've got something on your mind.
I have nothing to add.
সিলভারকে
We'll be making some
কিছু
preparations
বকর
first.
বকর করানো গেল না ঠিক আছে গাইস মেইন আমাদের টার্গেট হচ্ছে লিনিকে বাঁচাতে হবে এটাকে ট্রিস্টেইন
Sorry, but no one can freely enter or exit the Opera House at the moment. If you wish...
Were you always guard?
Yes. After the Chief Justice gave the order, everyone coming in or out must undergo a strict inspection. So, the missing girl couldn't have left from here. At least, not from that point on. I doubt there was much opportunity.
How can you be so...
Well, because I couldn't see Linny's performance from here, which was quite a shame. Just my luck. But still, I did not abandon my... We Melazines are good at that sort of...
So, it's safe to say the girl could... Alright, thank you for your help. This'll...
কিন্তু গাইস হেল্পার যে উড়ে গেল ওর যে মাথা তুবড়ে গেল সেইটার কি হবে ঠিক আছে গাইস আমাদের কাছে বেশ কয়েকটা এভিডেন্সেস জমে গেছে
Checked everything of note here at the performance venue. Paimon wonders how Linny's discussion with the guards is going. Let's go see, shall we?
Understood. Then I will be going with you. Just so you're aware, I will be monitoring your actions and making notes as necessary.
Very good. Thanks for being so agreeable. I'd pull a rose out of my hat as a gift for you if I could.
You may spare the pleasantries. I'm just doing my job.
You've arrived. Who's this? Me?
তো গাইস লিনেট
I'm Spina
নাভিয়া কে
guardian angel. If you've got a problem, I've got
ওকে
the
লিনেট
firepower.
কিন্তু নাভিয়াকে চেনে না
Sorry.
জাস্ট এক্ষুনি তারা
I got a little
অ্যাকোয়েন্টেড
carried
হলো
away there. Call me Navia. I'm a partner of theirs, and these are my companions. Would you mind if they join us?
Find my... Oh, new helpers?
Well, let's just say we're tagging along. It's not every day you get to see the secrets behind magic performed on such a large scale.
I appreciate your kind interest. Come with me. We'll be heading below stage.
ওকে গাইস তো আমরা হেডিং বিলো স্টেজ এন্টার করছি মানে স্টেজের তলায় ওই
Yes, a world of secrets is hidden beneath
সিক্রেট
this magic box,
প্যাসেজওয়েটা আমরা
prepared specifically for
ইয়ে
this
করব
switcheroo trick. But before I reveal everything, you should have a look first. Notice anything strange here?
এক্ষুনি তো গাইস কিছু বুঝতে পারলাম না লক করা বাই এনি
I'm not
চান্স
trying to be dramatic. Remembering the details of a trick will help you understand the methods used to perform it more easily.
Weren't there balloons and other decorations here? Where did...
Ah, good eye. That said, you're still far from discovering the answer.
ব্যাক অফ দ্য ডোর ইজ
that?
সাম
You mean the inside of the door? What's different about it? Paimon didn't notice.
Very good indeed. I thought you might not be able to catch that, given that you were sitting in the first row. The back of this door was patterned. Those patterns are now gone, replaced by a smooth wooden board. So, if you put 2 and 2 together, what do you get?
ইয়েস তাহলে
Exactly.
কাঠের তক্তা দিয়ে যদি
All
ঢাকা
right,
যায়
let's
তাহলে
go.
দ্যাটস আ বক্স
I'll tell
ইনসাইড
you
আ
how it
বক্স
works as we head down.
Oh, so there was a passageway under the magic box.
সেটা তো থাকতেই হবে গাইস
I knew you'd
ওটা
figure
ছাড়া
out
তো
most
হবে
of
না
it as soon as you saw this place. The 2 magic boxes are positioned right above. See this? The box with the lucky audience member in it would be shuttled over to the other side using the trolley.
This trolley can raise and lower and even rotate, ensuring that the box will face in the right direction.
I see. So that's the purpose of the box inside another box.
Precisely. The inner box would descend after the audience member was put inside and be moved along the trolley, all while the outer box would remain on stage as if nothing had ever changed.
So that's how you did it!
Once the box was lowered, the trolley would store some energy through this device here, with which it would complete the rest of the steps. The audience member would only be able to feel some slight movements in the dark, and by the time she walked out, she would already be back on stage.
Right! You were talking...
Ah, yes. A phonograph operated by Lynette was used to achieve that effect. My assistant and I had already scripted our conversation beforehand. When the countdown began, I had already gone to the opposite box via a tunnel using that ladder.
And what about Lynette? Where was she?
I was in the mezzanine space in the back of the box.
Oh, interesting.
That's how we were able to coordinate Linny's lines with the assistant. And by the way, I was the one who walked out of the box at the end.
I mean, we are twins. All it takes is a change of clothes and no one can tell who's who. And that's my favorite part of this trick. Only Lynette and I can perform it.
So that's how it all worked. Wow. Every detail you revealed was more amazing than the last.
Lynette would briefly walk out of the box and then go back in, jumping into the tunnel and escaping before the box on the trolley could finish ascending. And then I walk out of the other box in the audience area, and the trick would be complete. The operative word here being would. But as you saw, Cal was in the box, not our audience member. She, on the other hand, mysteriously vanished.
We really don't know how that happened.
If not for that interlude, this would have been an astonishing trick. I probably never would have figured out how you pulled it off. And yet, to think that someone was able to use this magic trick to commit a crime.
Brief appearance दिया था
Look around. I think we can come up with some more leads.
This is the scene of the crime. So Linny and Lynette are not permitted to stay here. I'll escort them back up.
Yes, of course. No need to be so strict now. I won't disappear into thin air, you know.
Thanks, everyone. We're counting.
ওকে তিনটে ক্লু আমরা ডিসকভার করতে পেরেছি গাইস আবার করে দেখব আর কোথায় কি কি ক্লু আছে আবার
Looks like a hook tied to the end of a rope. Huh?
সেইটা কিন্তু দরকার
Perhaps
ছিল
it
না
was a prop for a different trick.
Whatever it is.
আর এইটাও আছে গাইস
The floor is wet. Please be careful not to slip.
Speaking of which, why would there be water here?
Oh, Paimon knows. It's one of those tricks where you pour water in and here's a broken vase. Huh. Did the trolley knock it down while moving?
That can't be. The trolley moves along tracks from start to finish. It couldn't have
তাহলে বাসটাকে
Let's
হিট
note
মারতে
this down
পারবে না
too and think about it later.
একটা গ্র্যাপলিং হুক ব্রোকেন ভাস অনেক কিছু আছে গাইস এখানে যেটা অদ্ভুত আছে
Oh, these are the clothes that the lady chosen from the audience was wearing, right? Her clothes are here, but she's nowhere to be found.
Right. And do you... Ugh. This is so confusing. Paimon doesn't want to be...
আর কি কি ছিল গাইস এক্সামিন ট্র্যাকস তাহলে আর কি পাওয়া গেল এনি চান্স এখান থেকে বেরোতে পারে এখানে একটা ভেন্ট আছে গাইস
What is this place?
It seems someone could fit through here.
Could this have been...
Alone, perhaps. But if they had to pull another person with them, this space would be...
But there are no other ways in or out of here. Oh, you're right. Let Paimon write that down. Seems we're just about done investigating down here.
তাহলে গাইস আমরা করে নেব রিটার্ন টু দ্য সারফেস। চুমনেরও করা উচিত কিন্তু চুমন সেটা করছে না। চুমন রিটার্ন টু দ্য সারফেস।
সারফেসেই আছি ভাই।
Well, we've ascertained the state of the crime scene.
On surface.
Let's find a place to sort out our findings once Malus returns.
Ground control
Seems
to
to me
Major
that there are
Tom.
several things that don't add up here.
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle.
So, what did the guards say? Did the criminal escape through the vent?
They believe the odds of that are very low, since the vent leads to the Opera House's basement. The guards have checked the...
So the tunnels become like a secret chamber then. You know, like the kind you usually see in novels.
কিন্তু গাইস
No wonder Farina was so confident in her accusation. All the current evidence points toward Linny and Lynette.
In other words, the charges are very likely to be upheld unless we make some considerable progress.
Charges and then trial. So if the charges are upheld, they'll announce a sentence?
That's right. This is how a trial goes in the Opera House. During the proceedings, the Chief Justice... That's right. This is how indemnitium is produced. The statements from both sides, the defenses from attorneys, witness testimonies, and even the audience's emotions will all be projected on the oratrice. To put it simply, it's as if the oratrice has its own will, and is a judge in its own right.
This also precludes any kind of favoritism on the part of the Chief Justice. Not that this has ever happened anyway.
Once both sides have finished speaking, the Chief Justice will make his final decision. This, too, will be used by the oratrice as a reference. Then, finally, the oratrice will be consulted by officials.
Oratrice, journalists,
is the will
mechanics,
of justice itself.
Huh? So that machine is the one that actually decides? Paimon thought Novelette called the shots.
In practice, there is very little difference. Both have always come to the same judgment, which is why people have great faith in the Chief Justice. Ah, yes, the guards also asked me to convey that none of us will be allowed to leave this place before the trial.
Huh?
Because we've chosen to act as the twins' proxies. That makes us persons related to the case.
ওকে গাইস তো আমরা ইনফরমেশন যাতে বাইরে লিক না করতে পারি সেই জন্য আমাদের এখানে
outside parties, or that we might find outside help to disrupt the case. And even if that were not so, it could prove problematic if we happen to spread key information about the case ahead of time.
I'm ready to break out at any time.
Whoa, there's no need for that.
আটকে দিয়েছে রে ভাই আটকে দিয়েছে কারণ আমরা ক্রিটিক্যাল কেসে
Of course. I just hope you don't mind the lack of options. I'm afraid that catering to all tastes is not in the cards, nor is...
In that case,
কিছু
let's
করার
just
নেই
sort
ভাই
out our findings together here. Pity.
ম্যাজিক
I was hoping
স্টেজে
to take you to try some of Fontaine's
ম্যাজিক
famous
শো
desserts,
স্টেজে
too.
আমাদের
What
সামনে
better
একটা
way
মানুষ
to
উবড়ে
properly
গেছে
think through our findings than over some
গেনশিনের
tea and
মধ্যে
sweets?
না না
তো
আমি
না
বলছি
বেরোতে
যে
দেওয়াটাই
Suddenly
উচিত
doesn't seem like
কিসের
such a
জন্য
bad idea after all.
কিসের জন্য আটকেছে সেটা ইম্পর্টেন্ট না, তোকে আটকেছে সেটা ইম্পর্টেন্ট।
Just kidding.
না আমাকে ইভেন আমাকেও আটকে দিয়েছে
No snacks.
না দেখতে
Of course
পারিনি
we'll have
এখনো
snacks.
খেয়াল
If
হয়নি
we
ওটা
cannot buy some, then
আমি
we'll
তোকে
simply
চেক
make
করে
some.
বলবো পরে
দেখে নি
Here?
তোরই কাজের জিনিস আছে।
Understood, demoiselle. Everyone, please come with me.
এভরিওয়ান প্লিজ কাম উইথ দ্য বুড়াও লেটস সি কি বলতে চায়
Wait, you're carrying a portable stove with you?
Yes.
I must be prepared to meet the demoiselle's baking needs whenever the fancy strikes her.
I have eggs, sugar, and almonds at the ready.
Good work, you two. Then I'll get to it. Please sit tight for a moment.
These three are quite the interesting group.
must be a Spina Rosula thing So guys, Navia always prepared থাকে তোমরা দেখে বুঝতেই পারছো। তো গাইস এটা ম্যাকারন নয়, এটা লিটারালি সুগার বার্গার।
From the way you had these two guys carrying all that stuff around, Paimon thought you'd have them do more during the baking process. But you ended up doing the entire thing by yourself. Beating the egg whites, grinding almonds, everything.
I was applauding.
And I was giving encouraging smiles.
Paimon was just thinking. Aren't you worried about getting your fancy dress dirty, beating egg whites and baking like this?
Well, I don't think it's carved in stone anywhere that fancy ladies can only read books, sip tea, ride horses, and play the piano. I just really enjoy making. Don't underestimate beating egg whites, by the way. It's a real arm workout. You also need to beat them to just the right consistency, or your macarons will crack. Anyway, give these a
তো
try.
গাইস
Fresh
নাভিয়া
out of the
আমাদেরকে
oven. There's
ম্যাকারন
3 for each of us.
কিভাবে বানাতে হয় ভালো করে শিখিয়ে দিল।
Well, eating too many sweet treats might send all that sugar to your head. You wouldn't be able to think clearly about
কি
the
বলছিস
case on a
সুমন?
sugar rush, would you?
Tea is ready to be served as well. This is Demoiselle's favorite, strong black tea
শিখে তো
with a
নিচ্ছি।
floral fragrance that clears the mind and lifts the spirit.
গাইস ব্ল্যাক টি কেন বলে, রেড টি কেন
No need
বলে
for
না?
concern.
কারণ
I'm
কালারটা
merely doing
কিন্তু
as I should.
রেড টি হয়।
All right then. Down to business. As Paimon mentioned previously, the tunnel seems to be something of a secret chamber. However, we can assume that Linny and Lynette were not alone within it. Some criminal also occupied its sealed confines. The magician twins could have committed the crimes, of course.
Exactly.
What? The flower vase resulting in the shattering of the vase, the discarding of her clothes, and her abduction. Perhaps the criminal thought that since she was chosen from the crowd, she would be too easy to identify if she was.
Paimon thinks that makes sense, but the real trouble is...
There is no evidence that the third person exists. তো আসল পাবলিককে
None of
আমরা
the clues we've
যতক্ষণ
found
না
thus far
প্রমাণ
support
করতে
the
পারবো যে
existence of this third
থার্ড
person.
পারসন এখানে ইনক্লুডেড আছে,
The only
আমরা
people
ধরতে
left to
পারবো না।
consider are both technically victims, whether it's the missing girl, Halsey, or poor Cowl.
Could Halsey have secretly made modifications to the magic props in order to murder Cowl before making her escape?
তাও গাইস কোনো মোটিভেশন নেই, না হলসির আছে না কাওয়েলের আছে, কারণ কাওয়েল নিজেই এখানে ডেড হয়েছে। Dead man, dead reacts only. Said reacts please in the comments.
That's right. And even if she had tampered with the setup, she would need to understand the entire trick to pull it off. Nor does she have any motive. The
একদম
guard
নাভিয়া
said that she
ঠিকই
has
বলেছে।
never had any dealings with the magic troop's members.
Were we not thorough enough in our search? From the sound of things, this is turning into... Your macarons are amazing though, Navia. They smell great. They're nice and...
They are my specialty after all. And I see you've already had 5 of them.
What? 5? Oh, that can't be right. Paimon only counted 3. Honest.
Please don't worry about it. At my age, a few less sweets might actually be a good thing.
No. Being greedy is one thing, but Paimon knows how to count. Besides,
Paimon
Paimon
তুমি
knows that
জানো
if she
না।
ate too many, then others wouldn't have enough. Wait, even you don't believe Paimon? If Paimon ate those 2 extra macarons, then may they turn into stone in her stomach.
All right, we get it. Well, I suppose one of us might have gotten too engrossed in our chat and eaten them by mistake. Nope, Beloose, set up the stove again if you would.
Huh?
Making sure everyone gets 3 macarons, of course.
Exactly. We don't want to try...
As you wish, Demoiselle.
And I have the egg, sugar, and almonds.
Well...
তার মানে গাইস
That's it for snack
একটা
time.
জিনিস হতে পারে
I'm going to have another look
যে
around the area. I don't
আরো
know what we're
কেউ
looking
হতে
for yet.
পারে
But
যে
we've still got some time.
পাইমনের
As
প্লেট থেকে
attorneys,
দুটো
I
ম্যাকারন
suggest the
উড়িয়ে
2 of you
দিয়েছে।
think the case over again. It would be
আর আমি
awkward if you
থাকতে
got all
পাইমনের
tongue-tied on stage during the trial.
পাইমনের প্লেট থেকে দুটো ম্যাকারন উড়িয়ে দিয়েছে তাও আমি হতে দিতে পারি না।
It was nothing. A small task for the Spina di Rosula. Silver, Malus, it's time to go.
পাইমন খাবে 5টা ম্যাকারনই খাবে, কিন্তু পাইমনের নামে এলিগেশন লাগছে যে ও 5টা ম্যাকারন খেয়েছে, কিন্তু ও খেয়েছে আলটিমেটলি 3টে। এই ভুলটা আমি হতে হ্যাশট্যাগ দেব না। 8 to 10 চলো গাইস ক্লকটাকে অ্যাডজাস্ট করে নি। কারণ গাইস আলটিমেটলি পাইমন কিন্তু আমাদের এমার্জেন্সি ফুড, তো পাইমনকে বুঝতেই পারছো খাইয়ে পড়িয়ে রাখতে হবে, না হলে পাইমন যদি মানে হয় কি বলে ক্ষুধার্ত থেকে যায় তাহলে মিট উইল নট বি গুড, তোমরা বুঝতেই পারছো। তো পাঠাকে খাইয়ে পড়িয়ে রাখতে হয়, না হলে পাঠার মাংস ভালো হবে না। আর সেই পাঠাটাই আমাদের এখানের কেসে হচ্ছে পাইমন।
Just relax. Even if everyone else suspects, besides, I doubt Farina understands any more about what happened.
Thanks, Navia. Well,
Best of luck to you.
তো গাইস আমরা কোথায় যাচ্ছি একবার দেখে নি।
Finally, you're back. Well, how did...
To be honest?
No. We're already very grateful.
Well, now, don't you all look disappointed. That was to be expected, of course. But don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed should you, my most anticipated foe, concede so easily.
Since both parties are present, I declare that the trial regarding the magic show incident is now in session. Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results of the incident, could we please have Mr. Linney explain the trick?
Yes, of course. I will explain while Lynette demonstrates on stage. All the necessary items have been prepared.
তো গাইস লিনের সিক্রেটটা বেরিয়ে গেল
your
ম্যাজিক
statement to be that you ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick began.
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
In that case, I call upon the prosecution. Lady Farina, do you wish to refute his statement in any way?
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Linney is clearly lying. There is no way you could have been in the box the whole time if you were to abduct Halsey and murder Cowell. In fact, I'd say you were hardly in that tunnel at all.
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that I'm guilty.
Oh, is that so? And if I may ask, what did you hear while you were inside your box?
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built anticipation for the finale.
And you didn't hear anything else at all? Nothing that might leave an impression of any kind?
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there was a thud. One so loud that I believe practically everyone heard it.
Huh?
Hey, hang on. Something's not right here.
না থার্ডটা ছিল।
Yeah, I'm sure he could have heard a noise that loud from inside the box.
I was right by the box and I definitely heard the thud.
Look at those scales. Could those mean...
Well then, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to use the words of the magician himself. You never know what can happen in the blink of an eye. Indeed, it seems his alibi can also collapse in the blink of an eye. Of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my foundations are rock solid. Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth?
The House of the Hearth?
House of the Heart, Fatui?
No wonder they did something like.
So the serial disappearances were the Fatui's doing. Now it all makes sense.
I've got a feeling that what happened on stage probably wasn't just an accident.
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened during that 1 minute. Your first priority is to prove yourself innocent after all. I'm sure there is little that needs to be kept secret now. Unless your script already has holes in it. The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the infighting and... good thing I made all those preparations.
Hey, Linny!
Order! Order! Mr. Linney, allow me to re-establish the fact. First, when the thud was heard in the Opera House, you were neither in the box nor the tunnel. Second, you and Ms. Lynette are both members of the House of the Hearth. Are these claims true? Please answer my
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true, Your Honor.
Cano.
I knew it!
Well, that's it. We might as well move on to the sentencing already.
What should we do now?
এটা হতে পারে না গাইস কারণ লিনি ওই ইয়েতেই ছিল 1 মিনিট
Granted. In that case, what is your request?
Is that really necessary?
The defendant...
Order! Order! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn. This trial will
So you would stick to Mr. Linney's defense even after knowing what you do now? You certainly have more professionalism than I thought. In that case, my dear audience, let's allow the joy of victory to...
তো গাইস ফরিনের সাথে ব্যাটল অফ ওয়ার্ডস ইজ আ লিটল টাফ তোমরা বুঝতেই পারছো কতদূর জল গড়াতে পারে
Well, this is awkward. I didn't think the Hydro Archon would dig all that up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Paimon doesn't know where to start. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption that you... Not to set the wrong tone or anything, but Paimon's...
I'm very sorry. I know you're angry, and reasonably so, but I know you've clashed with the Fatui several times before. I wouldn't be surprised if just hearing the word is enough to make you upset. But our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very different personalities and goals.
Right now, we want to save people. As many as we can.
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this nation and the disaster that its people might face. I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, that's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you, but chose to hide some details since the truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us spending more effort than we need to. Right. So, you be the judge. Heck, if I were you, I fear that I'd even... You met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster by trade. All by... But still, I'm asking you to trust me. I am no criminal. At least, not in this case.
Sorry. Please, forgive...
Well, you both say that, but... Right. Let's hear your answer first, and no...
Of course. I'll answer any question. We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has consciousness. Why can it deliver sentences accurately? During our
তো ভাই তোমার
investigations, we
রিট্রিসের
learned
আমি
that the
কোয়েশ্চেন
machine's
এখনই
core is
আনসার করে
beneath
দিচ্ছি
it.
ওটাতে
From that
পাওয়ার
moment
আছে
on,
দা
Lynette
হাইড্রো
and I have been
আর্কনের
designing this
নোসিস
box swap trick with the objective of getting close to the core.
Is that why you needed a whole minute?
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need 15 to get to the opposite box. So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent, and went to investigate the room in which the core is stored.
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel
ঠিক আছে ভাই
specifically to execute this step.
ঠিক আছে ভাই গুড নাইট গাইস এয়ার ভেন্টেরও মিস্ট্রিটা আমরা বার করলাম
As soon as I reached that
সুমনকে
room and
আমরা
was about
জানিয়ে
to
দিলাম গুড
investigate,
নাইট
I heard someone's voice.
এবার আমরা লেগে পড়ছি আমাদের
Which should have been impossible, of
investigation
course. I was quite certain that I was the only one in the
scenario
room. That voice seemed to recognize me, and on the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground. But the countdown was almost finished, so there wasn't time to give it any thought. After that, the homicide occurred just as you saw.
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course, we must know all we can about this nation's secrets in order to deal with that prophesized crisis.
That's the only way we can save everyone.
So, there you have it. It was never my wish to proceed under this cloud of, but like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to leave because you don't trust the Fatui, there's nothing I can do to stop you.
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
Okay.
Thanks for giving us a chance.
The current problem is that the scales are tipped pretty badly. If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, we're gonna need a seriously watertight defense. Huh?
আবার কি এভিডেন্স পেলে কাকা তো এইটাই যদি আমরা এক্সপোজ করি তাহলে কি লিনেট একটুখানিও ছাড় পেলেও পেতে পারে সেটা দেখতে হবে
Both parties have returned to their positions. Let us continue the trial. When last we left off, Mr. Linney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue stating her reconstruction of the events.
That took long enough. Now then, if everyone would lend me their attention. At this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linney's perspective.
Based on you're gonna solve this ওরে বাবা গাইস মিনি গেম খেলে দিয়েছে
As the countdown began, he entered the tunnel. When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the loud thud. He did not realize that the sound could be heard by everyone in the Opera House, which is why he claimed earlier that he could not hear the sound. Finally, he used the vase to knock her out, before making her change clothes to prevent others from recognizing her. At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, having heard that strange noise, and caught Linney red-handed. So Linney proceeded to knock him out too before stuffing him into that box. Afterward, Linney passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box in the audience stands, before operating the devices such that Cowell's death would be ruled an accident. And there you have it. That's the truth behind what happened.
Does the defendant's side have any objections to Lady Farina?
The key to refuting Lady Farina is the order of events, what Linny experienced, and what he saw.
Identify এইটাতে গাইস আমাদেরকে লুপহোল দিতে হবে.
According to Linny, he left via the vent after entering the tunnel. He couldn't have had that altercation with Halsey. Seems this won't produce a particular.
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে. তাহলে কি এটাতে রিফিউট করা যাবে না?
Oh, Linny went to the room that can. Seems this won't.
এটাও পাচ্ছে না গাইস. এইটাতে বোধহয় রিফিউটটা হবে.
Linny did not take part.
Attention! Ace Detective Paimon has something to say.
Detective Paimon has something to say.
Linny did indeed go into the tunnel. But he immediately used
So guys, Paimon is now spitting facts.
Which is where the underground core of the Oratrice is stored. Once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been an empty room. Since he felt something was amiss, he returned immediately. The crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again. Finally, he reached the surface, and that was when the accident happened from his point of view. Therefore...
Guys, আমরা জাস্ট রিস্টোর করতে পেরেছি রেপুটেশনটাকে.
Paimon did it! Paimon actually managed to say all that!
In other words, you believe that...
That's right!
My reasoning?
If that's the case, then if Pearl hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire setup meant to kill? Assuming that what you say is true, Linny only needed to kidnap the young girl to cause a new disappearance case. What would the point of killing someone on...
Oh, they have a point.
That's right, you two! Well, your denial is very strident, I'll give you that. But what proof do you have to back your claims? Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box the whole time, how could he have not heard that sound? Why do you ask? You're saying that he wasn't?
Your claim has also become a critical clue. अरे यार.
Are you sure we don't need to give this more thought?
अरे यार भाई এটা কেউ irrelevant বলছে
That's right! Lenny wasn't in the box or in the tunnel. That's why he didn't hear anything strange during the performance.
তো গাইস মিনি গেমটা
That
একটুখানি
when the
টাফ
crime
আছে
happened,
বলবো
Lenny had already entered the basement via the vent. The same clue you used to disprove his alibi has now become the best proof! How do you like that?
Well played.
To think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Lenny who committed the crimes, then who was it?
The murderer was আরে কাকা গিয়ার আইকনও আছে নাকি
Could there have been a third person involved? Halsey is the missing person and an ordinary audience member. Or did she have her own scheme all along? Could there have been a third person involved? The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment. Could there have been a third person? The deceased's name is Cowell.
কাওয়েলের সাথে গাইস কি করে যে লিংক করাবো
That can't be right.
Oh,
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator to victim. No one entered or left the opera house through its entrance. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. No one entered or left the...
আচ্ছা তারপরে
Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between... The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Linny as well.
আচ্ছা তো ফার্স্ট
Linny was not in the tunnel. It would have been tough for both. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between... No one entered or left the opera...
আচ্ছা এইটা ঠিক আছে
No one entered or... Halsey's clothing was... It would have been tough for both... The sound we heard may have come from...
একটু কোয়েশ্চেনে গাইস ভুল আছে
No one entered or left... No one entered or left the opera...
করে দেবো ভুলে গেল
No one entered or left... No one entered or left the op... The deceased's name is Cowell.
Altercation.
No one entered or... The sound we heard may have come from...
Select clue.
Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. It would have been tough for both people.
আরে গাইস কি করেছেন ভাই
still have...
Look, since we're at a dead end, why just like the trick as it transpired?
If only we knew how Halsey disappeared.
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has... And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real live person disappear. You know, like you did from that water tank, Lynette.
Excuse my interrupt.
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. The vase was not broken by chance.
কোয়েশ্চেনটা আই গেস মানে কোয়েস্ট চেইনটা আই গেস এবারে আমরা ভালো করে উইভ করতে পেরেছি
Paimon gets it! Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leaving only clothes behind. If there's a similar method where a person...
Oh, just a moment, please. How could a person ever be transformed into water? This is reality we're talking about here, not some magic trick. Magic tricks are ultimately...
Even so, the truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reason. Since Cal was the deceased, but given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at his belongings.
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end...
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, I believe that additional evidence may help us make more progress. Guards, please step into the lounge and...
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress that we feel must be shared with everyone. We discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's baggage, each labeled separately. The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are... water from the primordial sea.
The primordial...
The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he had an accomplice. The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which the keyword dissolve appears many. One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's date. It is empty. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely that Halsey was chosen as some sort of test subject. As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact, supported by sufficient evidence.
You've got to be kidding! People dissolving into water?
Could something so ridiculous actually be true?
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy.
Huh. If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? And if Cowell was targeting that girl... Wait just a minute. Could that mean... You...
Demoiselle, wait! What about your partners?
Let's go. Just...
Order! Order! Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic. Guards, please continue. Mr. Linney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by the
Of course. If we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of this case's seemingly unrelated clues can be
getting connected together.
That one didn't make sense at all. Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water...
Who is the prime suspect currently?
The deceased's name is Cowell.
What item did...
The water from the primordial... The water from the primordial...
তাহলে এইটা কি
Now it seems like the hook rope was not...
What item did the culprit use to hide the mechanism behind the crime?
Lynette was in the magic box. I remember there was something else within the...
Question complete.
It's Ace in the original plan. When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top of the box. When the balloon attached to the box popped, the water from the primordial seed inside it would pour down and dissolve Halsey. Afterward, Cowl would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water inside the tunnel, with the remaining evidence being covered up by the water tank on stage. But he encountered something unexpected in the tunnel, and wound up being fatally hit by the same water tank he meant to use to cover his tracks.
Huh. That does make sense.
That actually links together a lot.
Oh dear. Now, it seems like the only point of contention remaining is his notes mentioned he had an accomplice.
On that note, the guards have just contacted me indicating that they uncovered. I shall now invite him on stage.
Thank you, Your Honor. And we found an identical sample of the water from the primordial sea among Linny's personal effects.
What?
That can't be. Does this not, my dear citizen?
अरे भाई refutation आवाज शुरू
Lydia did
होना.
not need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman at all. Indeed, having made modifications to the props beforehand, his accomplice Cowl then caused Halsey to vanish using the water from the primordial sea. But upon his return, in cruel avarice, Linny desired sole credit and prepared to do away with his partner in crime. Ultimately, he knocked Cowl out, and the tool meant to cover the crime up also became a murder weapon. Now, as much as I regret having come to such a viciously straightforward conclusion, it does seem that the famed Fatui is quite the cold-blooded and ruthless. Am I right, Miss?
We've used up all the evidence. Is this the end of the...
Oh.
Oh no.
So guys, Fontaine Archon quest গুলো তোমরা বুঝতেই পারছো বড্ড বাজে।
I believe this is indeed the finale. Now then, my good, noble Chief Justice, should we not... excuse me, everyone.
Miss, I must ask you not to shout and to respect the ongoing legal proceedings.
Oh, come on. Don't be hasty. I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, would anyone here like to take a little break from all this debate and see? I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who has disappeared back in the flesh, right before your very eyes. Please, do the honors, Mr. Linny, if you would be so kind.
But what in the world is she...
No offense, miss, but miracles like that are beyond my scope as...
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection. But once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth to them once again? And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous... Come on, Linny and Lynette. Give it another go. Don't worry. Spina but as the magic makers and stars of the show, I think I should...
I understand.
And voila.
এই একে কোত্থেকে বার করে আনলো?
Wait, isn't that Halsey? So the whole thing about people dissolving...
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, the merit of doing so would lessen my sentence. I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was afraid that I would be the... I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me. And then before I knew it, she...
That'll teach you to underestimate...
Where should I begin? I'm sorry. What? Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lillian. And I'm originally... I heard that Linny's show was gonna be a real thriller, but I missed the chance to buy a ticket, so I stole one. That's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there. And I'd never been caught before. But I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away. Lenny was the one...
Hey! No wonder you look familiar. Liddy even mentioned that you were...
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but then the number selector chose me. He even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can imagine how shocked I was. I thought he was on to me for sure. So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee. But then I got water poured on me for no reason, and then someone jumped into the tunnel to nab me. I wasn't going to take that lying down, so I knocked him out and stuffed him into the box. There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing performance costumes. I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding inside the opera house.
Can a person even hide in there?
But I swear, I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box. I may be a thief, but I'm no killer.
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now.
This time, we need to tell the entire...
अरे भाई एबार लिलियंस पर्सपेक्टिव যেতে হবে Lily entered the tunnel. Drop hook, random number selector. Inaudible thumb. Clothes. House it dissolved. Identify loopholes. এ ভাই কি দিয়ে করব আইডেন্টিফাই লুপহোল এটাও তো লুপহোলের মধ্যে আসছে না চলো গাইস শুরু থেকে শুরু করা যাক রিফিউট হচ্ছে না রিফিউট হচ্ছে না এটাতেও রিফিউট হচ্ছে না কোনোটাতেই রিফিউট হবে না হবে না রিফিউট যাও খুব ভালো কথা
The strange sound.
একটা স্টেটমেন্ট গাইস আমরা রিফিউট করতে পেরেছি এবার ড্রপ কি একটা আছে দেন স্ট্রেঞ্জ সাউন্ড রিফিউটের জন্য ইউজ করা যাবে না
The flower vase.
Then identifying loopholes.
Lillian was afraid that she would be...
And it's Ace Detective Paimon! Having been selected out of the blue, her panic only intent hearing the commotion, Cowl, he did not know that Lillian, mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial sea needed time to take effect, he tried to force Lillian back into the box. The two broke the flap with no way of escaping. She...
আবার গাইস আমরা নরমালে চলে এসেছি রেপুটেশন সাকসেসফুল হয়ে গেছে
She knew that she would have to go through guard inspection if she tried to...
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons. So, she swiped two of them right under our noses.
At this point, all the events that have...
Ah, so that's the whole story.
Bravo!
Now then, Lady Farina, do you wish to speak against the defense's statements? Please answer.
আর ফরিনা কিছু না কিছু বাওয়াল দেওয়া শুরু করবে
No, I have no further arguments. I admit defeat. But really, could you at least have left me with some...
Wow! Look at that!
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, I shall once again repeat. The actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, selected his next victim from the with some modifications to the selector to cover up any evidence while committing the deed. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop and hide the watermarks. He poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation of the magic box and stuck it to the box's lid. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when bringing the young woman to said box. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope and bursting the balloon containing the water. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Lillian was not from Fontaine, and thus fled the box with a loud noise. Realizing that there was trouble, Cowell entered the tunnel and met Lillian, thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious. Lillian, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the opera house. As for Linny, he was in the underground structures within the opera house, and was thus ignorant of these happenings. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude that Linny, the accused, is in fact innocent. While there is much in Linny and Lillian's conduct that should still be investigated separately, this case, at least, can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the final decision. As such, Linny and Lynette.
Great work, partner.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Next, I think we deserve an explanation, Guard Vaughn. How did you find the water from the primordial sea in Linny's baggage?
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know. Or was that not a discovery, but false evidence that you dared to bring before this—
I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Linny, but you, yes? I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a one-way ticket to Coupon Town.
I was just following orders. We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Linny, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity—
And now that your plan has fallen through, therefore you would be wise to tell everything you know and seek the protection of the guards.
Yes, I'll tell you everything I know. Our boss discovered that the water can cause people to dissolve. It can also be made into a potion, which when extremely diluted, can cause people to experience unforgettable exhilaration. We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent more off it. The disappearances were all—
He turned into water.
And now he can no longer talk.
Such ruthlessness. I shouldn't have expected any less of them.
An outrage. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
So, we're just going back now?
Traveler, Paimon, please wait.
Winnie.
I know you may not want to speak to me right now, but still. Let me thank you again for I guess. I didn't approach you with any— As for why, that was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached recruiting us back then too.
The Knave? The one who controls the House of the Hearth? She's—
That's right. Back when our parents first died, Lynette and I were left wandered to survive. I took my sister. To my surprise, before long, an aristocrat came to me.
So you went from orphans to...
That was how we felt at first, too. But he would constantly take me to all sorts of banquets to garner attention, which he would...
That doesn't seem too bad either.
It took a while for me to realize. After one particular performance, I waited a long time after we returned home, but she did not come back.
Nobility.
I went to that noble's bedroom and asked him about her whereabouts. The answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift. I mean, you'll be able to perform your magic regardless of who your assistant is, yes?
Oh no. But what if...
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption or foster care, and they have their ways of escaping the eye of the law. I managed to all I saw...
So, she'd already...
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered several girls hidden in a big... I mean, the knave, might have seen something in me, and so... The House of the Hearth welcome... I was hesitant to but she was also...
Oh, so that's how the two of you joined...
She has gained...
So, she...
That's right. Today's case has also proven that people from Fontaine can indeed dissolve into... Everyone at Hotel Bouffe d'été, including the knave, has their roots in Fontaine. And we will always defend our homeland. To us orphans, the only connection...
So, from small...
It's alright. I just hope you can if you should need anything...
I understand. এখনকার মতন আমরা এটাকে কাটবো। अरे गाइस ताओ तो एटू शांति दाओ এইখানে গাইস আবার ধরলো আমায় নাভিয়া
What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for us now?
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting closer to solving the serial Huh? What's wrong, my dear partner?
And given that...
Ah, I see. Sorry.
Don't say that, Navi.
Oh, and we were having so much fun investigating with you, too. Wait, should we have a fair...
Huh?
Well, Anyway, it would just be a meal, so it's...
You don't have to...
Oh, wonder...
Alright then, let's have a...
So let's have a farewell meal. সেই বলেই আমরা Chapter 4, Act 1 complete করছি। একবার গাইস আমরা কোয়েস্ট লাইন আপ দেখার আগে অ্যাচিভমেন্টস গুলোকে চেক করে নেব। আমাদের আরো দুটো অ্যাচিভমেন্ট আনলক হয়েছে, A Twist of Great Magic আর Prelude of Blancheur and Noirceur। এই দুটো অ্যাচিভমেন্ট আমরা আনলক করে ফেলেছি। আর জাস্ট একবার কোয়েস্ট লাইন আপ দেখে নেব, সেটা হচ্ছে সেমি অটোমেটিক ফোর্জ। এক্ষুনি গাইজ এটাকে আমি রাখছি না ন্যাভিগেশনে, আমরা এটাকে রাখবো এটুকুই গাইজ। আজকের মতন আমরা রেখে দেবো। অ্যাক্ট 1 আমরা কমপ্লিট করলাম গাইজ। নেক্সট ভিডিওতে আমরা কন্টিনিউ করবো অ্যাক্ট 2 এর জন্য, মানে অ্যাক্ট 2টা নিয়ে কন্টিনিউ করবো। সো স্টে টিউন, সাবস্ক্রাইব। আমাদের কোন মিনি গেমের পার্টটা ভালো লাগলো সেটা বলো কমেন্টে, আর গাইজ লাইক করতে ভুলো না, কারণ আমি লাইকের সংখ্যাটা দেখতে একদম পাই না। সো ডু অ্যাজ ইউ প্লিজ গাইজ, করে দিও সাবস্ক্রাইব, লাইক, কমেন্ট, কিছু তো করে দিও। চলো গাইজ আজকে আমরা রাখছি এটুকুই, বাই।